Hi guys, it's Natalie Rose. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a story time about when my teacher was responsible for me getting lost in Montreal. Huge city. I thought it would be fun to also do my makeup at the same time. So I brought my makeup bag, brushes, a bunch of lip liners and eyeliners. I even brought my little boba plushies for no reason. I think they want to listen to the story. Y'all want to listen to the story? Sure. Honestly, I didn't really tell a lot of people this story. It's such a core memory for me. So yeah, I was in middle school. This was in grade 8. In grade 8, I don't know about your guys' schools, but at my school we had a grade 8 trip at the end of the year. What you got to do was you got to go with your classmates to Quebec first, Quebec City, and then go to Montreal. And this was not just any short trip. This was a week long, which was a big deal to be missing school and doing this with your class. That whole start of the grade 8 year, I was so excited for that trip because that's what everyone talked about. That's as furthest as I really ever been at that point. I was constantly talking about this trip the whole year, especially with my then best friend at the time. We'll call her Jennifer. And then there's another friend as well that takes place in the story, and we would call her Abigail. So Jennifer and Abigail. We were really excited, but I always noticed that every time this trip would be talked about by the teacher, and even me when I tried to bring it up, she just didn't look as excited. And then it occurred to me that she was actually stressed out because she couldn't afford to go and she wasn't going to go on the trip. At that point, she was my only best friend, and she was the world to me. Every single day we hung out. We were very, very close, and with her not going, honestly, I kind of debated, should I even go to this? I told my parents about that, and immediately they told me, she's gonna go. We're gonna pay for her. Our first payment due pretty soon, and they covered my best friend Jennifer's payment, and they told the school to just kind of keep it a surprise for a little bit. I remember there was kind of a bit of time where she didn't even know that she was going, and then I forget what it was, but I remember my teacher, I don't know if it was a paper or something to confirm who was coming, but she got one and she was really confused and kind of put the pieces together pretty quickly that it was my family. We were really, really excited. So we had to get up super early for this to take the bus. So I was there by 6:30 because the bus left at 7 a.m. I was exhausted that morning, and I started freaking out because the teacher started to do roll call, to make sure everyone was present, and my best friend was not there yet. She was gonna be late, and I remember the teacher coming up to me and being like, "Natalie, where's your friend? Is she coming? Because we have to go at 7 o'clock sharp, and it's 6:50 right now, and she's still not here." And finally, at the last second, she showed up, and she was actually a little bit late. The bus driver was really nice enough to let her come on the bus. It took us about 7.5 hours to get from Moncton, New Brunswick to Quebec. So I remember on the way there, Justin Bieber just dropped his song "To You." That came out. I don't know if you guys remember that single. This was in I want to say 2017, maybe 2016, 2017, around that time. Yeah, he dropped that song "To You," and I remember constantly listening to that almost the whole way there because I was this was peak Justin Bieber era for me. I was such a big fan. Got there, everyone was so excited. We were in a different place, different environment, and Quebec City is truly so pretty if you've ever been there. Just the start of the trip was really weird because everyone started passing out. Getting sick. It was so hot, and everyone was wearing pajamas and oversized clothing to be comfortable on the bus ride, and we left so early that it was pretty chilly, but it was actually so hot there. This was end of school year, so June or something. So it was almost summer, so it's hot outside, but it was really hot in Quebec. People started fainting and having to go to their hotel room, checking in early and staying in there all day and throwing up everywhere. It was people getting heat stroke left and right. I was starting to feel sick, and I couldn't tell if it was because I was watching people throw up or if I was actually getting heat stroke. It was so weird. First thing we did, I won't lie, I was so bored. We had a really weird tour guide, and he was trying to tell us about all of these the history, and there was those people that those people that wear those costumes and they don't move. They just guard and they stand there, and it's like a joke to try to make them move, and they're wearing like excessive weird hats and stuff. I forget what those people are inside a photo. Those kind of people were just standing there looking at us, and I was like, what the hell? This guy was so boring. We were going into like weird, you know, places of war, and I respect that. Like, but we were in grade 8. We were childish. We weren't mature. We were just wanted to like have fun. So this was kind of like a boring start, to be honest, because I mean, what to my right, there's a boring ass tour guide who's talking about history, which I don't really like history, and then to my left, there's a bunch of people throwing up, and I'm like, oh my god, wow, what a weird start, but whatever. So I just pretty much tried to entertain myself by talking to my best friend the whole time. Probably got in trouble for talking because honestly, our teacher hated us. Madame Laundry, yeah, she hated us because me and my friend Jennifer, we talked all the time. So she really, and for some reason, it was actually funny. Like my best friend Jennifer at the time, she was like, "Yo, I feel like our teacher like really doesn't like me. For some reason, Miss Landry like really don't like me." And honestly, ever since she pointed that out, especially on the trip, it's so true. She would constantly give her dirty looks, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm the loudest one here, but yet she's getting mad at Jennifer. That's crazy." Oh my gosh, the hotel was so cute. I just remember like it was literally the prettiest hotel I've ever seen. When we went in there, it was like pink, almost like a baby pink and gold like on the inside, like, and it was like if you look out your little balcony, it was like a circle. It was like all like you could see, like it was like so bad at explaining this, but it was like there was like a little waterfall or like little cute like almost looks outdoorsy, but like on the inside, like with like plants and trees and like water streams. And it looks like something very like Italian. When I got lost, it took place when we went to Montreal, and Montreal was the last part of the trip. So we went to Quebec first. We stayed there for like 3 or 4 days. And during that part of the trip, like honestly, it was so much fun. We did a bunch of random things. I remember one activity that we did was like involved like copper. We went to this place and these people were like teaching us how to make copper and like molding a little design in the copper, and we got to keep it, and it was kind of weird. Like I was like, this is the most random thing ever, but I don't know why I vividly remember that, but like I just remember the people there dressed like they were in like the 1930s and like teaching us how to make copper, and like I don't know, it was really random. And then after that we went to like this cool like hiking trails. There's like hiking and like waterfalls, and we were in the woods, and it was pretty fun, honestly. The rest of Quebec was really filled with a lot of like dining and like just wandering around. We went to really fancy restaurants that were really cute, and me and my friends would get glam together. We were like in middle school, but we still had at middle school I was doing like full glam like how I am now. Like I started makeup so young. I remember we were getting ready one time to do like dinner, and then right after dinner they had like a cruise ship that was just parked there. Like we weren't gonna actually go on a cruise, but it was like a party on a boat for us with a bunch of snacks and like music and everything. It was like the social part. It was like at night. Because during the trip, there was actually like other people from different schools that went on the same trip as us. So we would occasionally see other people that were our age. And I remember like seeing these other people go on the boat after dinner. And when we got on there, we realized that they were actually like American, and that was like the first time I really met an American, like Americans our age and everything. And I just remember there was these really cute boys that were like American, and I was like trying to flirt with them and had a crush on them. And I just remember like they kept roasting us and telling us about the war and saying that we were bad in the war or like something stupid, and I was like, ew. And then me and my friends were like, get away from the weird Americans. Like I remember there was kind of like drama on the boat, but I don't really remember what it was about. I just remember them trying to talk about the war, and I was like, like that's why would I want to talk? Why would we want to talk about that? But now one thing I have to mention about this trip that is so funny is that I had a crush. Okay, I didn't tell anyone my crush at this point because I was kind of new, but I had a crush, and he was in like the English classes. Like I took French immersion because obviously Canada, like we have like French and English is like our languages. So like French immersion is pretty important if you take that. It's like really hyped up for jobs in your future, and you get a certificate after completing so many years. So anyways, we were in the French immersion, me and my friend Jennifer. We were in the French immersion and he was in English, but I had a huge crush on him. But I didn't tell anyone yet. I didn't even tell Jennifer. This was a new crush and I was just seeing the vibe and everything. I kept eyeing him. And this is important later because something dramatic happened later, but on this same trip. Don't mind me. I know I just did that again. I already used this one, but for some reason I like this color too. So anyways, yeah, Quebec was pretty fun, but let's move on to Montreal. So we get to Montreal, we get into our hotel. This is important that I talk about who I was sharing a room with, okay? Because there's 3 of us, there's 3 girls. It was me, my best friend Jennifer, and Abigail, who I call her, no offense, but kind of the wannabe in our friend group. She was always kind of around, but we just thought she was kind of annoying, to be honest. She said things that I just always was like, what? Why do you say that? Like, anyways, nonetheless, we actually had a lot of fun with her. We actually were going to have free time in Montreal. So basically, they told us that we would be in groups, you know, with our teacher and stuff. There was like 3 or 4 teachers on this trip with us. So they were like, okay, we're gonna like divide up and we'll have a teacher with each like group of students, and we'll just walk around Montreal and have like some free time to like just chill and check out the city, like sightsee and everything. So I was like, okay. Before we did that though, they were like, first we're gonna go and visit this really like beautiful church, and then we're gonna do this little walk with our groups. And we went to Notre Dame Church. It was so beautiful in there. Like, I'll insert some photos from the internet. Like, it is just an absolutely stunning church. And for me, it actually like felt kind of meaningful because I grew up religious. A little bit of praying because I actually miss my family. And then after that, our teacher were like, okay guys, if anyone needs to go to the washroom, now that some of you guys prayed and explored the church, if anyone needs to go to the washroom to pee, now is the time. So we go there, we talk to our teacher, Madame Melançon. We tell Madame Melançon that we have to pee. There's like 3 or 4 of us. And she's like, okay girls, go pee, hurry up, and I'll be waiting for you right in this church, and then we will go out together and join the group and walk around and explore Montreal. Key part here, she told us she was gonna wait. She didn't wait for us. We finished peeing, probably being loud as hell in the bathroom, laughing, giggling, whatever. We finished peeing, come back out to no one. To no one. We literally come back out, and our teacher, who's supposed to be with us and supposed to wait for us, left us alone. So we look to the right. Oh, that's fine. We look to the right. We look to the left. Nobody's in sight. Our teacher is just gone. And we're like freaking out. We're like, maybe she's outside the church. So we go outside the church. She's gone. And we're like, surely she didn't just forget. And at this point, I didn't have a phone yet. I had an iPod. So I can't make any calls. Like, I don't know her number. I don't know her number or anything. So I'm just like, what the hell? And none of us, like, for some reason, none of us, even the ones that did have phones, didn't have her number. That was probably the first thing we did wrong. I'm pretty sure there was some contacts that we were supposed to have with us, like the teachers. But I don't know, for some reason that wasn't clear enough because the people that we were with, the few others that we were with, didn't have her number either. So that was when we realized, like, we are lost in Montreal. We go outside, we don't see them anywhere. And Montreal is huge. We did not see them anywhere. We start freaking out because we're like, we can't even like call them. We can't even call our teacher. And we just kept talking. We basically decided to just walk around and try to find them ourselves. So we just go anyway. We're like, at least we're not alone. You know, we've got a group with us, but like we're left alone, unsupervised in a big city, and we're far from our hotel room because we drove all the way to do all these activities. We were scared that they weren't going to notice us and go to the Six Flags park, go to La Ronde without us, and that was what we were most excited for this whole trip. So we were like crashing out. I remember this conversation like it was yesterday. Like all of us were like we're like, how do you just forget that? Like, we couldn't stop talking about the words that left her mouth of like, when you come back and pee, I'll be right here and we'll go out together. Like, what part of that do you not understand? Like, how does the teacher like how do you just forget? Like, I don't understand. Like, maybe she just had a lot in her mind and she thought she saw us get out. We were like trying to think of everything possible of why, because honestly it is so weird to me. Like, honestly, I still to this day don't even understand how you just forget. No shade, but I feel like if I was a teacher, I would be like stressing out to make sure that all of my kids are with me, all of my students are with me at all times. Like, if I say I'm gonna stay, my eyes are glued, my mind is set on that. Like, how do you not? Like, the only reasonable explanation I could really think of as to why she would like forget something so important is like maybe someone else was wearing something similar to us and she thought for some reason she saw us and that we had joined the group. That's the only logical explanation I can think about. It's how did she forget us? How are we in this situation? What if they already loaded the bus to go to La Ronde without us? So we're just freaking out at this point. We were really scared. I started almost crying because like I just felt so vulnerable and like far from my parents' protection, and like the only person that's really supposed to protect us right now is this teacher who gave us her word that she was gonna wait, and she didn't. And we were lost for what felt like an hour. We were just like freaking out. After not seeing them for like an hour of walking around, we literally felt like we were gonna give up, and we were just like, I swear they're probably on that bus right now going to La Ronde. Like, I swear that's what's happening. And I truly believe that's what was gonna happen, just with my luck and just knowing that we could possibly miss out on that. And like, for some reason, if they just didn't notice or didn't check attendance or something and just assumed everyone was there, like, that's what I was scared of. I was just praying that they would just check attendance and realize that we weren't there and come looking for us. But no one was in sight for so long and no one had the number. We finally look over and we realize that we recognize a few students, and at first we weren't sure if it was them, and then like they looked over and they were like kind of looking at like, why are you guys alone, you know? So we finally find some students, just to find out they were lost too, and they couldn't find the teacher. And I'm like, how do you lose like 5 or 6 students? Like, I don't know how you do that. Like, how do you lose that many students? How did you not check the roll call? Come on. Like, I don't understand that. I was so confused. To this day, I'm like, what? Finally, after walking around for, I swear, like another hour or like 30 minutes, it felt that long. Maybe it wasn't, but to me, it felt like a very long time. We spot a bunch of students and the teacher. I don't even have it in my memory. I have no idea what the teacher said to us. I don't remember because it was, for one, it was 10 years ago. For two, these are the details that stick out to me, is mostly just being lost and us being confused at her words of like her leaving the church. I just find that story so crazy because it's like you guys had like 4, 5, 6 teachers. There was a lot of teachers because the whole French immersion and English immersion went on this trip. So I'm like, we ended up going to La Ronde and it is so much fun. We just went on a bunch of rides together, but like honestly this whole trip was so funny, and this other dramatic thing happened, okay? So let me talk about that. So like I mentioned earlier, I had a huge crush. Okay, let's go a little bit backwards. The day before we went to La Ronde, that night when we were at the hotel, we had a very interesting night, okay? So keep in mind, it's us 3 girls in there. It's my best friend Jennifer and Abigail. So us 3, we were yapping until like 2 a.m. And the reason why this conversation ended up going so much longer is because we realized something. So we start talking about like our life. I remember some of my friends were talking about family drama. We were talking about like random things in pop culture, like our, probably One Direction or something. I don't know. And we start talking about our crushes. I didn't tell anyone who my crush was yet, obviously, and I was kind of thinking about telling my friend on this trip because I was like, oh my god, this is such a memorable way to tell her the tea, but I was just really shy about crushes, especially because my last crush was so public and embarrassing that I was just like kind of like scared about who do I tell, because even though I trust my friends, I feel like things just get around somehow. So I wasn't sure if I should really say anything, but I'm just like, oh my god, guys, I have a crush. And they were like, wait, no, wait. My friend Jennifer looks at me, she's like, oh my god, I have a crush too. And then Abigail is like, wait, so do I. And they're on this trip. And I'm like, oh my god, same. Jennifer's like, yeah, me too. I think you know where this is going. I literally say the name of my crush. Jennifer and Abigail say the exact same name after like gasping and freaking out. All three of us have a crush on the same boy in middle school, and we didn't know. This whole time I was checking him out. They were too, and I didn't even notice. Like, I was so focused on like if he noticed me that I wasn't even aware that the two friends I was with the whole time were looking at the same guy. Like, I was like, I remember all of us, the silence after that, the tension, the awkwardness of like but it ended up turning into laughter, but like for the longest time it was like nervous laughter. Like, it was like literally like who's gonna get him first? Like, oh my god. And we did Quebec for like most of the trip, but the last 2 days were Montreal. So like La Ronde, the rest of it, we went to like this zoo, we went to, you know, some food places, we went to this biodome. Like, we did a lot of activities in those last couple days, like back to back, and the whole time it was just like 3 girls fighting over this guy, like fighting for his attention. And even he basically caught on, like, oh my god, all 3 of these girls seem to be really interested in me and like talking to me all of a sudden. We would laugh. Like, I remember at one point, like, me and Jennifer laughing at the same time, just looking at each other like, oh my gosh, like, it was just so awkward. And then I remember it got even more awkward because like we started to notice something. Even though we were all kind of like trying to be supportive and like not let the guy, oh my god, I remember something, another detail that is just so funny looking back on this memory. I remember after the hotel, like in the hotel when we all found out we had a crush on the same boy, I was saying like, guys, like, we're not gonna be one of those friends that like a boy gets in between them, okay? Like, everyone has to like, hold on, it's the wrong brush. Everyone has to be really respectful. No one can, this won't get between us. Like, if anyone breaks this, like, you're gonna break our friendship and it's gonna be, like, all your fault and everything. So we all agreed that night to not really let that get in between our friendship. So we were, like, trying to be really respectful and mindful. And honestly, that's why I was so irritated because... And honestly, it did get between us, because I remember after our trip of us constantly trying to get this guy's attention from the English class, we were just like, just so obsessed with him for some reason. And looking back, he was not even that cute. Like, I don't really know why I had a crush on him. No offense. Like, I just like, looking back, it's so funny. Like, he's not even my type at all in the slightest. And his personality was cringy. Like, no offense. Like, I know we were in middle school. We were all cringy. But just, you know, when you look back on your crush and you're like, I don't know what was wrong with me. Like, I don't know why I did that. That was kind of weird. That's how I felt, like, looking back. And even right after, I was like, that's kind of weird. But yeah, I remember like getting so sad. Like, oh my gosh, on the way back from the trip, this is what made me the most sad. My heart, okay, so while we're back on the bus, and during that trip, by the way, since we were kind of all over this guy, he actually, like, you know, kind of befriended us. Like, he was like our friend, and he started to always like look for our attention, like make little jokes and like see if we would laugh. Like, he loved the attention of all 3 girls loving him. Like, he took advantage of that, and we kind of got close to him, like all of us. So he kind of became part of our little group. Like, there would be times like at the zoo or the biodome that he was just like actually hanging out with us, and I started to think he liked me, except All of us started to think that, apparently, because when we talked about it, we were like, oh my god. Like, it started being awkward because we would get excited and be like, oh my god, you did this to me. And then everyone would be like, oh my god, but like you knew they were jealous. Like, it was so awkward and dramatic, and I was like, oh my god, this is like super awkward. It just made the trip like, you know, it didn't ruin the trip, to be honest, because it was so fun. We did so many activities, but it did make it like really awkward sometimes. I was trying to be happy for my friends, but like I wanted him so bad at the time. All of that to say that he was like actually hanging out with us, because that's important for the seating arrangement on the way back. So me and my best friend Jennifer sit together. Obviously, I wanted him to sit with me, but Jennifer already sat down, and then he sits right next to us. So I'm like, oh my god, like he's right across from us. We're talking to him and everything, and then Abigail sits with him. Abigail sits with him. And that's fine, you know, because honestly, like, if I really want him that bad, I should have just sat there. I was just so shy. Like, I was honestly a really shy kid, to be honest. That was my shy era. I didn't talk to anyone, by the way. I was that kid in class that never talked and would get in trouble. Like, the teacher would be like, you're never talking. Like, I don't know who you are. And they would, like, call my parents. Like, I was a really shy kid, honestly. And so, like, my gut was, like, to sit with him, but I also, like, was really attached to my friend, and I was like really shy, and I still had enough like empathy in my heart that I didn't want to flirt with him in front of my friend. Like, I just felt like I would hurt her feelings. Abigail didn't care at all. In fact, she hurt our feelings, because when we kept our eyes on her, like the whole time we would be talking in conversation, like me and Jennifer would like look at each other and be like, oh my god, do you see them like laughing together? Oh my god, what's so funny? And we would kind of like mock and be like like, you know, like behind her back and be like we were just really just became haters because we were jealous. Like, that should be us. And honestly, I'm glad it happened to Abigail, because she was already kind of like, we didn't really like her that much, to be honest. So we were like, you know, at least it's Abigail. At least it's not becoming between us. But still, you know, like, still hurt our feelings. So we tried to let it slide, but honestly, it was like, I remember like, if you guys think back to like your first crush, like this hurts. For some reason, this hurts so bad in the moment, because like your feelings are so strong at this age, and you really feel like you're actually in love, and like your hormones are really intense. You know, you hit puberty, like you're really like invested in your relationships and your peers and your first crushes. So like watching them flirt together right in front of me and Jennifer's face, we both were heartbroken. We were like, oh my god, they're moving closer together. Oh my god, like they're actually like moving close together right in front of us. And I'm like, she's like, all of a sudden, like I had my headphones in and I'm listening to that To You Justin Bieber song again that I'm obsessed with, that just came out at the time. And I literally feel her, and it's like 2 or 3 a.m. at this point, and I feel her just nudge me and be like, Nat. And I'm like, do I even want to look? Like, I don't know if I want to look. I'm so over it at this point. But I look over, which I shouldn't have done, to be honest. I look over, and she literally has her head on his shoulder, cuddled up together, sleeping with a blanket, and he's enjoying it. Like, I'm like, I literally wish at that point, like, and I'm being so serious right now, like, at the time it was so serious. Like, you guys know in middle school, everything is a big deal. I literally, the sting, I really wish I didn't look. And I still remember, like, the time of her being like, Nat, look, the time of me going like this to look over felt so long, because I knew I didn't want to see what I was gonna see. And they were cuddling. Like, I know they didn't kiss or anything, but like, I literally felt the pain in my stomach. Like, it felt like the wind was knocked out of me at that point, because I had such a crush on him, and like in school he was acknowledging me. Like, the reason I had a crush on him is because we talk, you know? Like, I had such a crush on him at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, and honestly, it's kind of funny because the crush on him lasted kind of a long time. Like, I still liked him in high school too. I don't know why. But I remember like he was like in theater. He was in musical theater. And I remember going to his show and like I would hug him and we'd sit together on the bus. So I was like, take that. Because our friend Abigail, she did go to our high school. Like all three of us went to the same high school. But the thing was, eventually Abigail moved to America. Bye, Abigail. And then shortly after she moved, I ended up not liking him anymore, so it didn't matter. But I remember at first when I still liked him and she moved to America, I was like, period. Yeah, like by the time that she moved, I actually didn't really have a huge crush on him anymore. But guys, like at the time, that feeling again, like when you were watching your friend that you're close with, regardless, like even though she wasn't my favorite person, because honestly, she just kind of made everything feel like a competition. She kind of compared a lot and like talked about how rich she was, and I was like, I just feel like I couldn't relate to her, so I just didn't really bond with her that much. But you know, I was just like, and also I didn't really have a good memory with like her dad. For some reason, he was so scary to me. Her dad, when I went to her house, he was just like grilling us. When we had a project together, he was like, how are we going to do this? And he was like putting a lot of pressure on us that I was actually scared of her parents. Like they really valued like high marks and like perfection. And it just kind of scared me because my parents were so opposite to that. I didn't grow up with that. So honestly, just her in general, she kind of brought that to the environment of like everything having to be perfect, and sometimes that bothered me. So like I wasn't close to her, but like honestly I was still like a good friend to her. I was still trying to be nice to her. I still have good memories of her, and I was still close enough to her that like it actually really hurt. It wasn't just like a stranger. It actually like really hurt my feelings when I realized that they were cuddling together in front of us. After that, I remember looking at my friend Jennifer, and the whole ride there, like all we talked about while they were sleeping, cuddling together, was like that. We were like shocked. We were like, oh my god, like how is this even happening right now? Like she's like, I know I shouldn't feel like this, and like we all had a crush on him, and you know we'd all killed to be in the same opportunity, but like why does she do us like that, like in front of us? Why couldn't she wait? We were kind of just like, why couldn't she wait until we got back home and she hung out with him by herself or something and told us? But no, it was like right in front of us after we just told her that we had feelings for him too, like the day before. She was that girl. Like honestly, that's also why I didn't like her. Like like I said, she would make things into a competition, and she flirted the most. Like she was really doing the most. Me and Jennifer were like low key trying to be respectful, even though we would flirt with him. We mostly tried to like find opportunities where we were alone with him for a second, or like the other girls were like looking at something else. Like we were trying to be more respectful, or like we would have conversations with him together, you know, like trying to be less obvious. But this girl, since finding out, even though it was her idea to be like, guys, since we all have a crush on the same guy, I don't know why I keep using this as a mirror, because that's how I ruin my eyeliner. But she's like, she was literally the one that was like, guys, since we all have a crush on the same guy, we have to be respectful, and we can't let a guy get in between us, okay? Like, we can't let that happen. And she was the one on that trip that was doing the most. Oh my god, this gives me such 2016 vibes. I won't lie, like, speaking of 2016, I 2016 was some of the like the best. 2016 really was peak for makeup. That memory stung with me the whole summer. Just I remember like the whole summer that memory just stung with me. And then later on that summer we were invited to like a pool party like a week after Quebec. So you already know at that pool party I was in my bikini. I was trying to like show off with him and flirt with him, and actually like there was a shift because he was so all over me at that pool party that I was like, I'm like, yeah, girl. See, two of us can play at that game. I had no problem that day upping my game because the whole time at that hangout, I had the memory of her cuddling him right in front of me, stinging in my brain. Anytime I would feel guilty at that pool party, I just remembered that. I just remembered that moment and I was feeling better. I was like, whatever. I was actually going to do like more soft makeup, but I literally did a full-on glam. Like, even though I really got my feelings hurt a lot on this trip, the memory is just amazing. Like, I laugh at it now. It's so funny. Everything seems so much more dramatic when you're younger, and I am just so grateful for those memories. I'm grateful for my parents still to this day. The fact that they paid for my friend to go knowing that I wouldn't enjoy myself, and knowing she was my only friend just makes me so happy. Honestly, makes me so grateful for them. And it was truly so much fun. Most of my channel is going to be a lot of story times in the future, so I'm really excited. Like this video, comment what you want me to do next. I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!